Tandem Gait test is a method for assessing dynamic postural control and part of the sport concussion assessment tool. This kind of test is measuring the combination of dynamic balance, speed, and coordination, and it's about time in seconds needed to complete the required movement pattern. So before you begin, use adhesive tape and also the measuring tape to mark a 3 meter or the 9.8 feet line on the floor, as well as 0.25 meter or 9.8 inch perpendicular lines indicating the beginning and end of the 3 meters or 9.8 feet. Begin the procedure by saying to the athlete or client that you are going to measure how quickly they walk heel to toe along this line. They also need to remove their shoe and stand at one end to the line. Next, explain to the client place their hands on the hips and move forward after the client cleared the perpendicular line at the end. Verbally signal the athlete or client to begin and use timing device to record how much time passes while the assessment is completed. Now, after the client has completed the initial test, tell them to return to the starting position and relax. After a brief rest, the athlete or client needs to make 3 or more attempts with a brief rest between each attempt. And then, the fastest value of the 4 trials test will be the final result. The sit and reach test measures a combination of hip and low back flexibility, equipment needed, measuring stick, and adhesive tape. Begin the procedure by saying to the client that you are going to measure the hip and low back flexibility. Next, direct the client to sit with the yardstick between the legs and place the bottom of your heels along the tape at the 23 cm or 9.1 inch mark. Next is overlap your hands and finger and slowly reach forward as far as possible. Once you've reached as far as you can, hold that position for 2 seconds. Record the greatest achieved to the nearest centimeter or 0.25 inch during the movement and ask the client to relax prior to making 3 more attempts. The back scratch test is used to measure the shoulder flexibility. Begin the procedure by saying to the athlete or client that you're going to measure the shoulder flexibility by evaluating how far you can overlap your fingers behind your back. Second, direct the client to raise the right elbow toward your right ear and reach down your back as far as possible. Now, start with your left arm directly by your side and slowly move your elbow towards the middle of your back while reaching your hand up as far as possible towards your right hand. Try to hold this position for 2 seconds. While the athlete or client is completing the attempt, use a ruler or measuring tape to record the greatest finger overlap length achieved to the nearest centimeter or 1/4 inch and prior to making 3 more attempts. Next, direct the client to repeat the same procedure but with your left hand coming from above and your right hand coming from below. Standing long jump is often used as a functional test to assess leg power, but the test may underestimate the athlete's true potential if the athlete does not use the best possible technique. Equipment required: tape measure to measure distance jumped, non-slip floor for takeoff, and soft landing area preferred. Commercial long jump landing mats are also available. The athlete stands behind the line mark on the ground with feet slightly apart. A 2-foot takeoff and landing is used, with swing of the arms and bending of the knees to provide forward drive. The subject attempts to jump as far as possible, landing on both feet without falling backwards. 3 attempts are allowed. The measurement is taken from takeoff line to the nearest point of contact on the landing. Then lastly, record the longest distance jump, the best of 3 attempts.